The United States could, if it worked out an arrangement, easily come to terms with an economy that's so much smaller. The Chinese economy, that's a completely different thing. Their GDP is around 17, 18 trillion dollars, catching up exactly. And Russia and China together, and India and Brazil added, yeah, that gives you the powerhouse that I've been describing and that BRICS represents. The road forward with continued denial is a road into making mistakes. The United States made a mistake in the war in Ukraine. It's crystal clear. Let me remind everyone, at the beginning of the war in 2022, there were predictions from the president on down. Russia would be destroyed. Russia would fall to its knees. The ruble would collapse. Russia would become dismembered. Putin would be ejected. None of that happened. Nothing remotely like it happened. Why? Because they didn't understand BRICS, what it meant, what it could do, how it could intervene with Russia to change the outcome. More such mistakes are coming if you continue to pretend that we're all in some old Cold War 2.0 rather than in a new economic situation. Look, I do understand. I'm an American citizen, born here, lived here, worked here all my life. It is very hard to be in the period of decline of an empire. I'm sure it was hard for the British who lost their empire a century ago. And it was hard for the Dutch and the Persians and the Greeks and the Romans. Every empire that goes down is kind of hard. But we do have the benefit of knowing that and making at least some choices to accept it, to understand it, and to work out a live and let live with the rest of the world. Otherwise, the doom and gloom predictions of World War III and all the forms that is taking will in the end overtake us. Not because they have to happen, not because they're built into the system, but rather because a population having to face the decline of its empire, the decline of its system, wants to deny it rather than treat it in the manner that adults kind of know they ought to do.
Yes, yes, indeed. And I know I know you were at graduate school around the same time of economics with Janet Yellen. She recently announced more sanctions on the way against Russia. And of course, there have been, under the Biden administration, we've talked about the increased tariffs on China. So this is all happening as the Biden administration and people like Yellen are on their way out of this current administration. I wanted to ask you, Professor Wolf, a lot of people in the United States may be, especially around tariffs, maybe less so sanctions, convinced that isolationism and maybe even economic war or economic hostility could serve to contain competitors, right? Especially this is with tariffs, that perhaps that will bring back U.S. manufacturing and give the U.S. a chance to once again, as you alluded to before, with the U.S.'s very small growth numbers, once again boom again, and that will then lead to benefits for American workers or U.S.-based workers. Could you talk about the folly of this potential connection